uh helps you feel better about your kind of life, because you're like, I got a lot going on at home and stuff like that. I got a lot going on in my life, but hey, at least I don't got to deal what they got to deal with. So maybe you relate to the show. Maybe, I don't know. Um, Previously on the K.M.B show, we talked about toxic relationships last month. Then last week we talked about being in our 20s. Today we are talking about, drumroll please, we're talking about movies and TV shows that we grew up on. Because like I said, this month we're gonna talk about childhood and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of us grew up watching a lot of entertainment. It could be streaming services, it could be like YouTube and stuff like that. My main thing that I'm gonna talk about that I feel like I grew up on and a lot of kids grew up on, or not kids, but people my age I grew up on, was cable. And sadly, some people didn't have cable growing up and stuff like that. Again, I don't know your financial issues, Um, you grew up on watching that antenna. I remember I used to go over to my grandparents' house, and I remember there was only Saturday mornings where there was only cartoons on, bro. Like that was the best feeling, bro, when you could get a cartoon on. And until this day, I still remember that every Saturday morning, I'm running downstairs and turning the TV on and seeing what new cartoons were out there, or just cartoons in general. As you guys can tell, I was a Cartoon Network kid growing up. Around in my teen years, I got closer to watching like Nickelodeon and Disney, of course, but Cartoon Network was the main one. And it was funny too, because I actually seen a meme, and it was like, I forgot how exactly it went. It was like, I think normal kids watch Disney, cool kids watch Cartoon Network, and then it was weird kids watch Nickelodeon. Me personally, is just, what you like is what you like. Some people just flip through channels. Like, some people just watch iCarly for Nickelodeon. Some people just watch Good Luck Charlie for Disney Channel, and then people watch regular show for Cartoon Network. Me personally, I bet I was just always on Cartoon Network when I was real little. But again, I grew up on watching cartoons. I grew up watching on sitcoms, all this comedy. I think you guys can tell by my personality in general. Also, I used to watch some sports when I was a kid. A lot of movies I seen as a kid. I used to love going to the movie theaters, especially to go see movies. I used to love it when Disney Channel used to drop their Disney originals. I used to love Friday nights when Disney used to drop their new episodes, and you had to watch it, but then you realize that they literally repeat the same episode over and over and over and over again every the whole week, and then a new episode drops, and they drop the same two episodes over and over again. Yeah, it's crazy on things that you pick up. Yeah. But even till today, I love, now that I only really watch streaming services. I love it when they drop new seasons. Why I'm talking about TV shows a lot is because my best friend growing up, I guess you can say, was the TV. That no matter what, that was the only thing that never lets me. No, I'm just playing. Pull some childhood trauma right there. No, like I said though, it's just I just loved watching TV. It was kind of one thing that like really always cheered me up and stuff like that. When I'm always kind of down on myself, the one show I always go towards is a show called Friends. That show always just gets me laughing, and it just always cheers me up. During my teen years and stuff like that, I watch some drama shows. Maybe that's why I can be funny, but I can also be serious at times. I feel like a lot of times why people watch drama shows is because it kind of helps you feel better about your kind of life, because you're like, I got a lot going on at home and stuff like that. I got a lot going on in my life, but hey, at least I don't got to deal what they got to deal with. So maybe you relate to the show. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no. So I was into those kind of shows. When Outer Banks kind of dropped is when I really got into the whole like Netflix originals. So around in like 2020, after high school, I'm sure I was into like some shows, but not as much. Um, but yeah, no, like I said, I was really into sitcoms. I still am. You know, I binge watch a bunch of like old sitcoms like King of Queens, Last Man Standing, all sorts of stuff. The George Lopez show, Everybody Hates Chris, and stuff like that. And you know, before people say like, "Oh, aren't you a Christian?" and stuff like that, like, why are you going to TV to cheer you up? Like, shouldn't go to God? I do go to God. I do pray. I do talk to Him and stuff like that. But sometimes the TV, you escape from reality. You your life is just so like in the slumps and stuff like that, or sometimes or I'm sorry, so you're in the slumps and stuff like that, and you wanna get out of life. So what do? You go towards TV because that's escaping reality, you know. Or sometimes honestly, you just do it for relaxation, you know. I do that most of the time. Just sit down on the couch and watch one episode, then go do something else and go do it and do what I gotta do, and then get back and just back in the routine. Click on a show and whatever. Maybe bored one day, you turn on a movie. I'm sorry for going on a little rant right now, but my favorite thing to do is honestly, like, I have off one night, I just literally turn on a new movie, and if that new movie is so good, oh, that's one of the best nights ever. I'd be like, whoa, that movie is so cool. What I also love doing is watching franchises if I'm like really good into the movie. Like I remember watching Fast and Furious franchise. I was watching the first ever Fast and Furious movie I ever seen was Fast and Furious 6 up in the movie theater. And then so I like to like Fast Five, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7, all that when those movies were coming out. Like that was my golden years for the Fast and Furious franchise. Now that I'm older, I actually do like Tokyo Drift. I think it has some actually really cool special effects. The first one is always going to be a legendary one, and I will agree with the reviewers. Fast and Furious, the fourth one, I don't think is that good. But besides on the point, this isn't talking about Fast and Furious. This is just talking about TV shows and movies. Movie franchise that a lot of people are obsessed with that I actually never seen or never got into was Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and basically all that sci-fi stuff off of books and stuff like that. Yeah, I know I never got into that as a kid, but the sci-fi stuff that I was into is that most people can relate to was Marvel. I actually seen every Avengers movie in the movie theater, so I honestly do think that is a flex. I don't know. I really do think it's cool. The DC movies, live actions, as a kid, I didn't think they were honestly that bad, you know? Batman versus Superman, I didn't think was that bad. Man of Steel, I used to love superheroes. My grandpa used to be a huge fan of Superman, so I seen a lot of Superman movies in the movie theater. The Green Lantern movie, I remember as a kid, I used to like that movie. I don't know if it's still bad or not. I haven't watched it in forever. One of my favorite movies of all time, that I am gonna say it, is 8 Mile. That is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. And some drama movies that I really like is when they basically people talk about their life and they hire an actor to play it. So like Get Rich or Die Trying, for example. I actually really like that movie. It's based on 50 Cent's life and it tells like a really good story. Straight Outta Compton, I seen that. Again, I'm a huge hip hop fan, so when I seen those movies, like till today, they're still good to me. But yeah, no. So there's those. Those are like really good. What else? What else? Comedy movies. You know, I grew up on Adam Sandler like crazy. Okay, so like when I was a kid, I used to watch like Happy Gilmore, Mr. Deeds, Billy Madison, Big Daddy, like all those. I think ever since Adam Sandler made movies, I checked out those movies. I maybe some people do like it, but You Don't Mess with His Own Hand is honestly probably my least favorite Adam Sandler movie. I'm sorry for the critics out there that like that movie, but I didn't really mess with it. But his other stuff, he even makes like really good drama movies. I know a lot of people like Uncut Gems, but I'm sorry, but Hustle was one of my favorite drama Adam Sandler movies that I really liked. Um, Speaking of Cartoon Network, the Cartoon Network shows that I grew up on that I really liked was Ed and Eddie and stuff like that. And it's so crazy with that show. I talked about it before on my podcast. With that show, I loved how there was like three best friends and stuff like that. Like that was the all-time trio right there. And it made me want to have a trio so bad growing up, so bad. And I love the scams they used to do. I remember there was one episode where there's like a pyramid of like cardboard boxes and stuff like that. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, bro. Grew up watching Johnny Test, of course, Ben 10, of course. I remember watching the Alien Force 2 when he was a teenager and stuff like that. Like dude, like if I could go back and like streaming services were a thing, I would binge watch a whole bunch of Batman cartoons, Justice League, a whole bunch of superhero cartoons basically, and I would binge watch a whole bunch of Ben 10, bro. Like, or binge watch a whole bunch of Cartoon Network shows. But now that I'm older, I can't really, like, that's not my entertainment, but that is what I grew up on. And I remember I grew up on watching superheroes so much, I wanted to be a superhero. I wanted a superpower. I remember I used to do this, like, weird thing. It was called, like, it was, my family used to, like, kind of make fun of me for it. It was called fighting air or whatever. So what I used to do was, I used to, like, use my imagination. I used to, like, pretend I was in the TV show. So, like, say Batman, for example, I used to pretend I was, like, fighting the Joker. So, like, I was, like, fighting all the villains and stuff like that. I don't know. It was like, a good way. I had ADHD. I couldn't sit still and watch it, okay? But like I said, as I got older, I got into, like, Nickelodeon. I got into Disney Channel. For Disney Channel, I was... It's just kind of an out there show, but I really liked the one show I Didn't Do It. I was into that one, and then but I was also into like Good Luck Charlie, Jesse, Liv and Maddie sort of. But what I don't know, but Nickelodeon though, I used to like Drake and Josh, Big Time Rush. Like, oh my, you rewatch those shows, bro. They are hilarious. And before I get well, again, my ADHD is like really kicking in because I don't know. I wanted to do this podcast for months now, so it's like now that I'm doing it, I'm like really excited. This kind of episode. So iCarly, a lot of people tell me about it. They're just like, because a lot of people loved iCarly growing up, and then they asked me, they're like, "Oh, did you watch it or whatever?" I'm like, I'm being straight up honest with you guys. I only watched when there was nothing else on. Like, I actually wasn't like that into iCarly, and it's kind of crazy. The only time I was like, I would say like I really wanted to watch iCarly was when they went to Japan, and when Freddie and Sam like kissed or whatever, because like that was kind of a big deal. But those are all in the beginning of the series, so like. I mean, I think I watched the finale, and then, like, I mean, I watched a lot of the episodes or whatever, but, like, I don't know. Like I said, it's just that was one of the shows that, like, I just watched it when it was on. Speaking of Nickelodeon shows, though, yeah, I actually like Victorious better than iCarly. You can hate me in the comments, but, man, it is not because there's more pretty girls in Victorious. That is not the reason at all. Not just playing. I do think the show was more funny in my opinion. Also too, let's be honest, we all wanted to go to Hollywood Arts. Oh yeah, I always thought the lockers were so cool in that show. But also too though, like Disney Channel, Austin and Ally, I was pretty into Austin and Ally. I thought it was cool. Zach and Cody, of course. Sweet Life on Deck, of course. Like, though the Sprout Brothers, like, when I watch their shows, and you know it was gonna be good. Disney Channel movies, Let It Shine, bro. That movie's a bop. Let's be honest here. There's another movie that's pretty out there too. I don't know if anyone's gonna remember this one, but Den Brother. I mean, oh, that's actually like a really good one. You know, speaking of Den Brother, because I was thinking about the little girl that played in that movie. She actually was in Dog with the Blog or whatever. That movie's actually not, or that show is not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. So I don't know. There was also a thing called Disney XD. I don't know if most people I'm sure know about it or whatever, but that was my Disney Channel right there. I remember I used to watch Kicking It, Pair of Kings. Pair of Kings is hilarious if you rewatch that show. Zeke and Luther was the reason why I got into skateboarding and stuff like that. Kicking It, really wanted to do karate because of it. Okay, all this stuff that like, this is why you got to be careful on what your kids watch, because your kids be watching this stuff and they be wanting to do it. I told you, I wanted to be a superhero because I watched a bunch of superhero stuff, you know? I also grew up too watching Power Rangers and stuff like that. I want to be basic. I wanted to be the Red Ranger for the longest time, stuff like that. Now I see myself as either like the Black Ranger or the Green Ranger and stuff like that. So like, I don't know if you guys are recasting any Power Rangers, you know, just let me know, you know. No, I'm just playing. Honestly, let's be honest, that'd probably be every like dude's dream. I also was like huge into the Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. Raphael, one of my favorites, stuff like that. I thought there was this one movie, it was like CGI, it was called TMNT. Like, oh dude, I thought that movie was so sick. I remember Cartoon Network used to play that movie a lot, but Raphael was so cool in that movie. But yeah, no, that was one of my favorites. Two, what else we got here? Dang, dude, like I can talk about this for a hot minute. You know, I thought this this episode was gonna be me like ranking TV shows. That's how I was gonna do, but I just went on a whole rant about good shows that we all grew up on, because I feel like the reason why I made this personally is because I feel like a lot of us people can like relate to this kind of stuff. You know, your childhood was everything to you. You know what you watch and what you did and stuff like that. So like I hope this pod, you know, reach out to other people, and I hope you guys can relate to these kind of shows, and kind of makes you think is like, oh, what was another good show? Oh, maybe I should like rewatch that. But before I end the pod, I'm gonna say this too. If you're following Christ and stuff like that, because I gotta mention Jesus and stuff like that. Of course, because he always comes first. If you really deeply want to know more about the Bible, watch the show The Chosen and stuff like that. I think they do a really good job portraying it. But if you really want like a kind of a faith based show and stuff like that, check out the show The Baxters. That I just got into that show and I was like, dude, this is like really good, honestly. But definitely check that out. And you know, it turns out if you have little kids and you want them, I'm sure there's probably not parents on this channel that are watching my episodes, but if is, definitely check out the show Veggie Tales, because it turns out that's actually they do actually a lot of stuff with Christianity, so I think that's cool, and it's actually kind of funny because I actually remember watching an episode of Veggie Tales when I was a kid at church. But you know, I hope you guys were excited for this episode and stuff like that. Like I said, it is kind of cool of, you know, growing up on the stuff that we watch and stuff like that, and how it like makes our mind the way how it is. You know, makes us it encourages us, it influences us as a kid and stuff like that. Even your personality, you might re-watch some shows and you might think and you're like, oh, I'm so that character and stuff like that. Because again, I'm going on a whole rant. I was gonna end this pod, but it just hit me. Isn't it crazy on like you were influenced by these characters on these shows? So in a way, like now that you're older, you kind of realize you're like, wow, I wanted to be that character so bad, or you kind of become it. You know, again, that's why people say like be careful on what your kids watch. But again, I hope you guys really liked it. There was another channel that I was real into when I was a kid. It was called Nicktoons. Played a whole bunch of Nickelodeon cartoons. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I don't even know if anyone remembers Boomerang, bro. If you know Boomerang, you're an OG for that one, bro. I also used to watch G.I. Joe a lot too. that made me, I used to want to be Snake Eyes so bad. I remember too, I used to be like, try to be quiet all the time, and it's funny because I'm the total opposite and I can't be quiet. So, that didn't work for me well. But yeah, so again, if you like sitcoms, you like comedies, I don't know, go watch a comedy, go watch a sitcom. I don't even know where I'm going at this point. I'm just gonna end it. But this is the end of the K.M.B. show. Next time on the K.M.B. show, we're gonna talk about crushes. So get ready for that next week. I'll see y'all later though. But peace. And don't forget, Jesus got you, bro.